Publius Quinctilius Varus and the Battle of Teutoburg Wald. Publius Quinctilius Varus grew up in the shadow of Rome's civil wars. Born around 46 to 44 BCE, he came from an obscure family that had been politically insignificant for centuries. His father, Sextus Quinctilius Varus, had briefly risen in Roman politics as a quaestor, but chose the losing side against Julius Caesar. Though pardoned, Sextus later committed suicide after the Battle of Philippi in 42 BCE, leaving young Varus and his siblings in uncertain circumstances. Despite this troubled start, Varus maneuvered his way into Rome's elite. Likely raised under the protection of relatives, he entered public life as a teenager and avoided being swept into the last rounds of civil war. Around 26 BCE, he probably served as a tribune under Augustus. Through his mother's family ties to the powerful Claudii Marcelli, Varus gained valuable connections, serving alongside Marcus Claudius Marcellus in Spain during Augustus's final campaign. His competence brought him to the princeps' attention. In 22 BCE, Augustus personally appointed Varus as quaestor. He accompanied Augustus on a tour of the eastern provinces, handling finances and administration in places like Athens and Pergamon. His efficiency earned him trust, and his career quickly advanced. He held the posts of aedile and praetor, and by 15 BCE, he was legate of the 19th Legion, probably fighting in the Alpine campaigns of Tiberius and Drusus. In 13 BCE, Varus reached the pinnacle of Roman prestige, the consulship shared with Tiberius. He also secured an influential marriage to Vipsania Marcella, daughter of Marcus Agrippa and sister-in-law of Tiberius. By birth, Varus was from a forgotten family, but through political talent and marriage, he had become a man at the center of the Julio-Claudian circle. Over the following years, Varus served in various roles. Around 8 BCE, he governed Africa, ensuring its vital grain supply. Soon after, he was transferred to Syria, where he managed unrest after the death of Herod the Great. He suppressed a Jewish revolt decisively, earning praise even from Josephus. Critics like Velleius Paterculus accused him of corruption, but this seems exaggerated. Varus's career quieted after he left Syria, likely due to shifting political tides. His marriage ended, but his fortunes revived when he remarried into Augustus's family around 2 CE. With Tiberius's return to power in 4 CE, Varus once again enjoyed imperial trust. By 7 CE, Augustus entrusted him with governing Rome's fragile new province in Germania. Varus in Germania. Germania was not fully conquered, but had been under Roman influence for nearly 2 decades. Rome introduced markets, councils, and even mining operations. Some settlements, like Walgrimes, had been remodeled with Roman urban features. But resistance simmered beneath the surface. Varus accelerated Romanization, imposing laws and possibly levying financial tribute. These policies, heavy-handed for the still restless tribes, stirred resentment. The key figure who exploited this discontent was Arminius of the Cherusi. Born into a noble family, Arminius was taken to Rome as a child hostage after his father allied with Drusus. Raised as a Roman, he learned Latin, gained citizenship, and rose to equestrian rank. He fought in Rome's Eastern and Illyrian campaigns, earning distinction and becoming a trusted commander of a cavalry unit. By the time he returned to Germania around 7 CE, he was both a Roman officer and heir to tribal leadership. Outwardly loyal, Arminius dined with Varus and served as his close ally. But in secret, he built a coalition among Germanic tribes, preparing to throw off Roman domination. His plan mirrored tactics he had seen in the Illyrian Revolt: disperse Roman detachments, lure their forces into difficult terrain, and strike with overwhelming ambushes. The trap in 9 CE, Arminius set his plan in motion. He spread word of a supposed uprising in the north. Varus, trusting his friend and dismissing warnings from Segestes, another Germanic leader and Arminius rival, marched to deal with the revolt. The Roman force, around 15,000 to 20,000 men with camp followers, advanced with a large baggage train. Many soldiers marched casually alongside families and traders, rather than in strict formation. Arminius, excused from the column to gather reinforcements, instead summoned his hidden allies from tribes such as the Marsi, Bructeri, and Chatti. The Romans marched straight into the dense forests and marshes of the Teutoburg Wald. Scouts were absent or relied upon auxiliaries loyal to Arminius. At a chosen moment, Germanic warriors struck. From behind embankments and swampy thickets, javelins rained down on the stretched Roman column. Chaos erupted. The Battle of Teutoburg Wald. The ambush began during heavy rain. Attacks targeted the front and middle of the column, splitting units apart. Varus pressed forward toward more open ground near Calcrease, where the Romans hastily built a camp. That night, they abandoned their baggage train, hoping to break through to the Rhine. The next day, they tried to march again, but were funneled into wooded ravines. The terrain broke their formations. Soldiers stumbled into marshes, weighed down by mud, shields, and armor. Arminius warriors struck from concealed positions, guided by auxilia trained in Roman discipline. Casualties mounted. On the third day, sources fall silent, but the Romans likely endured constant harassment. By the fourth day, discipline collapsed. Exhaustion, rain, and panic destroyed cohesion. Varus, wounded, chose suicide alongside his senior officers rather than capture. Many soldiers followed suit, killing themselves to avoid slavery or ritual sacrifice. The Roman cavalry commander Numonius attempted escape, but was cut down. Only scattered survivors broke free to the Rhine. Archaeology shows desperate attempts. Bodies in the marshes, abandoned equipment, and evidence of mutilation. Captives suffered cruel fates, eyes gouged, tongues cut, mouths sewn shut. Officers were sacrificed to Germanic gods. Rome's 3 legions, the 17th, 18th, and 19th, were annihilated. Their eagles were lost and the units were never reformed. Aftermath, Arminius pressed his victory, rallying more tribes and overrunning Roman forts. He besieged the fortress at Aliso, but the defenders under Lucius Caedicius held firm. Using a ruse of trumpet calls to simulate reinforcements, the Romans escaped at night, making it back to the Rhine. In Rome, the disaster sent shockwaves. Augustus, upon hearing the news, reportedly cried out, "Quinctilius Varus, give me back my legions." The empire panicked. Emergency levies were raised, veterans recalled, and estates confiscated to refill the army. Governors were ordered to stay in their posts to project stability. Germanic immigrants in Rome were expelled. Yet the empire endured. Tiberius arrived with reinforcements and stabilized the frontier. Rome would eventually return with vengeance under Germanicus, but Germania east of the Rhine was never fully subdued again. Legacy. The Battle of Teutoburg Wald was one of Rome's greatest defeats. It ended hopes of permanently annexing Germania, fixing the Rhine as the imperial boundary. Varus, once a symbol of Rome's political rehabilitation, became forever remembered for losing 3 legions in a single ambush. Arminius, hailed as a liberator in German tradition, had used Rome's own training and trust to destroy his forces. For Rome, the battle was a brutal reminder of overconfidence and the limits of imperial expansion.